Hello and welcome to our third preview show, and of course this weekend it is a bank holiday weekend, which means not just loads of sport but normally slate grey skies and precipitation everywhere. Football on Saturday and Monday, and of course cricket on Saturday, and Speedway tonight, Friday night. Oxfordshire Cheetahs taking on the Plymouth Gladiators at Sandy Lane. Tapes up at 7:30. Big interview coming with Peter Struck very, very soon. We'll start off with our football roundup, where we always start in National League. Oxford City's Ross Jenkins was chatting to me ahead of two very big games this weekend.
Ross, good point away at Halifax. Now comes a busy weekend. For want of a purist point of view, Rochdale and Chesterfield sound harder than Maidenhead and Boreham Wood.
Yeah, I think from the outside you probably look at that. I thought both games, Rochdale and Chesterfield, I thought they were really competitive games. A good marker of where we are. Obviously going to Halifax and getting a point was crucial. Although I thought we'd done probably enough to probably win the game. We had a really good second half. First half was a bit slow. Second half we got into a stride of things and we played some really good stuff. So the boys should be proud of that. But to get on the bus with a point is important. I mean, the next couple of games, yes, they're going to be difficult games, but difficult challenges as well. Maybe a different challenge. We know Rochdale and Chesterfield come with a bit of reputation, but the next teams we're playing are teams that have been in the league for a long time as well. So, in my opinion, every game for us is a big game. It is important we keep on learning, and we've had some really good games to learn from, and confidence in the group is high. Again, we look at the Chesterfield game, we thought we'd done enough to get a good result there, and Halifax, we thought we'd done the same. So we've got to keep on building, and the next two games over 3 days is going to be really difficult. So one that the boys are looking forward to. Their bodies might be saying something different after, but I'm certainly looking forward to it.
On the face of things, Maidenhead, sitting 7th, had a good win against Dagenham and Redbridge at the weekend, run by a former, well, he was a very talented player, Alan Devonshire. What do you know about them?
Quite a bit. I'm not too far. I lived in High Wycombe, so I'm not too far from Maidenhead. I know a few of the boys that were there. We know Zico, who were there from last season. So we know a little bit about them. We know the manager's experienced, and they've got a lot of know-how. They've recruited well. It's going to be a battle. It is going to be a battle, and I think that it'd be a different game to the Rochdale game and the Chesterfield game. Slightly different to the Halifax maybe, but we know what's to come. First thing, we've got to turn up and compete. We'll try and build on that. I thought Halifax first half we were a little bit slow, a little bit off the mark, and maybe a yard or two off it. Second half was completely different. So we know our standards. We'll try and replicate the second half as quickly as possible when we get there in the first minute. But we know we've got to put in a real performance and a real shift to get a result. And that's the minimum right now, is making sure we turn up and we attack the game. We're physically dominant. We work our socks off and we see what happens after that, because the football will come out, but you've got to earn the right in this league. So it's going to be a difficult one, but one definitely the boys are looking forward to.
And finally, Boreham Wood here on Monday. It's one of those where you can't really look beyond the first game, but I suppose you do have to, with them being in quick succession.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's focus is the Maidenhead game, but you've got to be wise. We can't be stupid. We've got to look at that second game as staff, not as players. We've got to manage the squad, maybe some minutes, but the focus is the 90 minutes on Saturday. Hopefully we get through the game with no injuries. I think it's a bit too soon of a spin around for everyone, for all the teams. I think a Friday night game probably would have been better, give everyone that extra few hours rest. But it is what it is, everyone's in the same boat. So I'm sure Boreham Wood will probably make a couple changes. Hopefully we don't get any injuries or niggles. So, but the focus is Saturday, and hopefully we come through that with a good performance, good result, and we roll into Monday sort of high spirits in front of our fans at home. And put in another good display, because so far I know the results haven't really reflected it in terms of displays and performances. They've been really good, so loads of positive things. Hopefully we can now tick off some points and get rolling.
I went over to the ASM Stadium. They've just announced a new 4-year deal with ASM for sponsorship over at Tame United. Their manager was away on holiday, but back for the games this weekend. But Michael Hogg, the assistant manager, had a chat to me about life at the ASM Stadium.
I'm joined by Michael Hogg, Assistant Manager of Tame United. Michael, a busy bank holiday weekend ahead. Barton Rovers on Saturday. What did you know about them?
I know they're a different side this year than they were last year. I think it'll be a much tougher proposition, I think, this year. I think they've done a bit of recruitment over the summer as well. So it's going to be a tough game. I think they had a good result, good comeback the other day. The other weekend they played, I think they were 3-0 down, I think they were, or something like that. So anyway, I think we won the game 4-3. So I think there's certainly going to be some challenges for us, without a doubt.
And a fairly new set of lads over here at Tame United. How's the pre-season and early season going?
Yeah, I mean, as people probably realise, we've not been in the position very long. There was only a couple of players here, I think, when we arrived. So we've had a massive recruitment drive. Got quite a young side, trying to add a bit of experience to that as well. But the players, we think, are good enough. We just need to translate into games on the pitch, get the results on the pitch.
And as ever, football being a fickle game, a nasty little mistress. It gives you 2 games in 3 days early on with a new set of players. And it's a derby to boot on Monday here at the ASM. Do you enjoy and relish those challenges as a group?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, playing at this level of football, I think is great. We've got, as I say, we've got a young group of guys. They'll be looking to progress and move on and get further up the ladder in terms of the pyramid and where they play. But certainly I think local derbies are great. Certainly I know we've got, we know the goalkeeper at Killington very well. We had him at Aylesbury United with us. Jack Hopwood, I know he's a Tame boy as well, so I'm sure he'll be relishing the challenge. But certainly for us, from our perspective, we've got some local boys in the team and they'll be up for the win without a doubt.
And the AFM's a beautiful place to come and play football, one of the best playing surfaces in the county. Does that sometimes play against you when sides turn up at the ASM like Kidlington on Monday and think, this is a place to play football?
I think it depends, certain teams like to get the ball down and play and other teams don't. I haven't seen Kidlington this year. I'm not quite sure what they're going to be, how they're going to be setting up, or whether they're going to try and play that way. But obviously, with a surface like this, we definitely want to get down and play football. We've got a fantastic facility outside to train on with the 3G pitch. So from that perspective, I think we're going to try and play a brand of football which is going to be attractive. We're going to try and keep possession. And to be honest with you, as you say, the pitch is in such good condition at the moment. If you can't play football on that, then you shouldn't be trying to play football at all, I think. Winning football matches is key, and that's what it's all about.
Monday's derby, one to relish. What can people expect when they come across the ASM in terms of the comfort, the seats, the camaraderie of the club?
Yeah, I mean, the stadium's fantastic. I mean, obviously a lot of investment went into it to build it in the first place. Everyone's been really welcoming for us, as a management team. Nothing's been too tough for us to request. We've, in terms of support we've had behind the scenes, been fantastic, both in terms of our media coverage. The secretary's been awesome, the chairman's been decent, the staff behind the scenes who do the kits and the bar and the food and all the rest of it and sort out our training facilities for us. It's been fabulous for us, and I expect everyone who comes to the game to get a very warm welcome and be treated with a kind of atmosphere and that you'd want on a bank holiday Monday. Good game of football, 2 local sides, with hopefully a big crowd to boot.
On Wednesday evening, I caught up with Peter Schrock. He was the manager of the Oxford Cheetahs and the Oxford Chargers. The Chargers charged to the top of the table with a victory over the Berwick Bullets. And of course, Peter Schrock is now trying to guide the Oxford Cheetahs back to the top of the table as they take on Plymouth tonight. I caught up, had a nice chat exactly about what makes a manager in Speedway and how...
Peter, 18 months into the return of Oxford Speedway. You manage both the Cheetahs and the Chargers, and both of them are charging very much towards the top of the table. How's it going?
Yeah, I mean, if you would have told me that a few months ago, you would have pinched yourself a little bit. So, it's been a great season so far. It's all the boys have gelled well together in both teams. It shows on the track. It shows with everything what we do. And I think that's why we're successful. Everybody wants to be here. We get a good crowd. We got a lot of good backing. So long may it continue.
Berwick into town this season for the Chargers. Playing a little catch me up really in the division due to the weather and what have you. How do you see tonight's meeting going?
Yeah, I mean, it's we go into this like we do everywhere. You know, it's Berwick obviously a little bit weakened because they lost a couple of riders, and but you know, it's we're still going to give them a lot of respect because you just never know in Speedway. We've seen that so many times. So you know, we're going to approach it with it's a win-win really. We've got to we want to get all 3 points. We had a really good time when we was up there, so the aggregate point is at stake as well. So if we can get all 3 points, that would put us up there sort of pretty solid, you know, and then got a couple of more matches left to seal the deal for the top 2. So that's what we're aiming for.
And the Chargers, obviously, the Cheetahs ride on Friday night against Plymouth. It's incredibly tight. The old foe Paul Pirates keep tagging at your shirt tails, but it's never over until it's over. There's a long way to go still.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and then like I said before, you know, people sort of mentioned it a little bit when we was down there last time, or we lost again. But if you knew what was going on in the pits, you know, Scott, you know, blew 2 engines up, which was a big hammer for us. You know, and then same with Sam Masters, you know, burned 2 clutches out. Same Louis Kerr. So all my top boys had problems. And you know, when we were 16 down, I got them all together and just sort of got them a little bit in a trance and said, like, look, imagine we're in the final. We only need to sort of pick a few points up, and if we lose by 12, we could have won the league, basically. You know, so suddenly they're all livened up again, and we got it down to the difference of 12, and we got the bonus point. And the bonus point can win you the league in these days. So I was really pleased with the performance down there. It's always tough, you know. But then don't forget, they came here and we've done the same to them, you know. So they're not. It's not that they can't be beaten, but you know, they're trying to do the same thing. At home, be strong, and you know, and away, if you can pick up some wins, they're doing the same what we're doing. So I think it's pretty even. And you know, if we do get to see them in the final, you know, it'd be a cracking meeting, that's for sure.
And the fans will back them 100% either way, down here and down at Paul in Dorset.
Yeah, 100%. We get a good following, you know, wherever we go, really. You know, we get quite a good following. And especially at home, people love their Speedway around here. You know, we picked up quite a few people come from Swindon as well now. So I think they're forgiving each other now, sort of thing, the fans, and starting to realise that if you want to watch your Speedway, there's not much left, so you might as well come and watch it at facilities like this.
For the ignorance amongst us, including me, how much influence do you have on a team? Because obviously they're the ones that ride in the bike, they're the ones that ride in the track. Is it man management? Is it knowing? What can you draw on? How do you relay it to them? Tell them, how do you team talk them? Do you say, look, we only need a 3-3 here, don't bust your buns or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, it is down to that, and I think what does help, you know, I used to race myself, and you know, and we've got a lot of respect for each other. You know, there's still old school things. They still work even with the younger ones. Sometimes I just bring things back to reality, you know, and you know, and I like to think that my man management is pretty good, you know, because I like to know what's going on, not just on the Speedway track, what goes on outside Speedway, because sometimes when your mind is not on the job, you know, I can help with things like that. I'm a lot older than most of them. I do travel with most of them when we go to the matches. So if I know there's a little problem and they want to talk, I jump in the van with them. You know, I don't just get flown here or drive here or one thing or another. You know, we've got a very good relationship, and I think that is something which you know, you can't buy. You have to earn that trust, and we have got a lot of trust between each other. And I like to think that is part of me helping them being where we are now. So, and that's what they say to me. So I have to take it gospel, and you know, and go from there.
Final question, the horrible question. Where do you go if you do get 2 titles this year?
We keep on going. We keep on doing what we're doing. It's no different to you ask, say, Man City or Man United. You know, what do you do when you won the title? Well, you want to win it again and again and again. No different what Pool is doing. You know, we sort of we're on their heel. You know, at the beginning of the season, a lot of other managers, promoters, fans, they didn't give us a chance with the team what we had. All thought we were top heavy, but I always knew that if you give these youngsters a good crack, they will come good, and that's what we've done. And 9 times out of 10, or pretty much 100%, that's what we will do again next year. Build around the youngsters and hopefully end up with near enough the same team. That's always important, and keep building and make the club stronger.
In the Home Counties Premier League Division 1, it's Aston Rowan versus Datchet, Slough host Banbury, and of course Wargrave host Henley. One more week to go in those games, 50 overs aside, starting at 11 AM in the morning. And of course in Division 2, Cumnor are at home to Buckingham, Horsepath are away to Gerrards Cross, and Amersham host Oxford. The big game of the day will be at Church Meadow, where Tame host Oxford Downs, who still have faint hopes of winning the title. And don't forget, here at Oxford Sports we are going to be live streaming ice hockey throughout the season and other sports events that need covering as well. But don't forget, we're trying to help everybody in the local community with their sport, and you can get the app, which you can now pop on your home screen. Literally just see it down there, hit the button, and you're into local sport. I need you to help me. If you could get in touch at oxo@mail.com on the email, and at Oxford_sports. Thank you.